So let's talk about cloud security. You might think you're all set with the basics, right? But here's the thing. Threats are getting way smarter, and that means our defenses have to level up. That's exactly why we're going to dive into Azure Firewall today. It's the kind of intelligent tool your cloud setup really needs. So let me ask you something right off the bat. Is your cloud security actually seeing the whole picture? I mean, sure, you've probably got locks on the doors, but can you tell what's moving through the hallways? That's the exact gap we're going to look at. Okay, so the real problem here, it's all about the language our security tools speak. Your basic stuff, like network security groups, they work at what's called layer 4. A good way to think about this is they can only read the to and from address on an envelope, IPs and ports. But the bad guys, modern threats, they're operating at layer 7. They're using nasty URLs, they're hiding in the app data, they're basically inside the letter itself. And your layer 4 security, it just can't read it. All right, so to really get a handle on this, let's first talk about the limits of that standard tool pretty much everyone starts with, the network security group, the NSG. Okay, picture this. An NSG is like a security guard in a mailroom, and he's really good at his job. He checks the address on the envelope, that's your source and destination IP, and he makes sure it goes into the right mail slot, the port. But, and this is the key part, he has zero ability to open that envelope and read what's inside. So what does that mean? It means NSGs are totally blind to the content. They just can't read the letter. They don't get things like HTTP or HTTPS. They have no idea if you're going to, say, your actual bank's website or some shady malicious site. All they see is an address and a port number. That's it. And this is where Azure Firewall makes its grand entrance. See, it's not just another lock on the door. It's a smart, fully managed security solution that was built from the ground up to solve this exact problem, this layer 7 blindness. What I love about Azure Firewall is that it's way more than just a simple shield. It's a shield with a brain, and that brain is what gives it its intelligence. It can understand both the envelope and the letter inside. Plus, the whole fully managed thing is a huge deal. You don't have to sweat the small stuff like the infrastructure or if it needs to scale up. Azure takes care of all that. It just sits there acting as this intelligent central security hub for all your traffic. Okay, that sounds great. But if this firewall is our central hub, how do we actually force all our traffic to go through it? How do we make sure it gets inspected? Let's break down how that works. It's actually a pretty simple 3-step deal. First, you pop the firewall into its own special subnet, which has to be called Azure Firewall Subnet. Easy enough. Then you set up what are called user-defined routes, or UDRs. Think of these like putting up new road signs in your network. And these signs all say the same thing to your other subnets. Hey, if you're trying to send traffic out, your next stop, your next hop, has to be the Azure Firewall. No exception. All right, so we've got all our traffic funneling through the firewall. Now for the fun part. Let's open up the toolkit and see what this thing can really do. So the power of Azure Firewall really boils down to 3 main types of rules. You've got your super smart layer 7 application rules, you've still got your traditional layer 4 network rules, and then you have DNAT rules, which are all about handling inbound traffic securely. Okay, the application rules. This is where the real magic is. This is that layer 7 brain we were talking about. You can finally make rules that make sense, like, yeah, let's allow access to Office365.com, or, you know what, block everything in the gambling category. That's a level of specific control that an NSG could only dream of. And it gets even better. Think about it. So much of the traffic on the web today is encrypted, right? It's using HTTPS. Well, with the premium version of Azure Firewall, you can actually do what's called TLS inspection. Basically, it sits in the middle and can read that encrypted traffic to hunt for threats. It's like giving your mailroom security guard X-ray vision. It's a total game changer. So you might be thinking, okay, this firewall is amazing. Does that mean I can just toss out my old network security groups? And the answer is a big, fat no. The best way to think about this is a strategy called defense in depth. Seriously, this is the question I hear all the time. Azure Firewall or network security groups? Which one should I use? Which one's better? And the answer is simple. It's not or, it's and. You don't choose between the giant wall around your castle and the locks on the doors inside. You use both. That's how you get maximum protection. This really breaks it down nicely. Your Azure Firewall, that's your perimeter security. It's the expert agent at the main gate of your whole network, inspecting every single package coming in or going out. The NSG? That's the security guard standing at each office door inside the building, checking IDs. It's controlling traffic between your subnets and VMs. See? They have different jobs, but they work together.
Exactly. The whole idea is to use them together. You're creating these overlapping layers of protection, so if one layer misses something or has a blind spot, the next layer is right there to catch it. That's what a strong security posture is all about.
So let's leave it with this question. I want you to think about your own cloud setup. Is your front door security just checking IDs, or is it smart enough to actually open the mail and look for threats? Because honestly, the answer to that question could make all the difference.